Hey, what's up guys? We'll be drawing Gear 4 Bounce Man, Monkey D. Luffy from One Piece. Now, in this short video, I will be going over the step-by-steps of how to create this Monkey D. Luffy drawing from start to finish. Now, if you just want to watch the speed drawing, feel free to click on the info card right now, okay? And or check out the video chapter in the description below to preview all the steps or to skip to the chapter that interests you the most. And if you already love what you see on this completed drawing, why not hit like and subscribe now? Okay, now let's take a look at the materials we need for this drawing. You're going to need a pencil, an eraser, you're going to need 3 different black markers. I have a fine, thin point, I have a medium point for the profile lines, and I have a thick one is to fill in the blacks, easier to fill in the blacks. And you're going to need some color pencils. Now, we're not going to go too heavy with the shadows because the marker covered the shadow area. Okay, so it's mainly for mid-tone and highlight. I have a yellow for the straw hat and the sunflower on the shirt. I got a gray for all the smoke and this part of the pants, the shorts. I have a blue for the shorts. And then I have a peach kind of like skin tone for the skin. And then I have kind of like a darker but pale brown for the shadow area of the skin, as well as the shadow area of the straw hat. Okay? Now I'll be drawing in speed mode throughout the video, so feel free to pause anytime you want if you need to catch up with me if you're drawing along. Okay? So let's get started. Now before we start our drawing, let's take a look at a reference picture of the Gear 4 Bounce Man Luffy and find out what shapes and form we can use to create our drawings. Okay? So I have 2 reference pictures here. This one is done by the original artist, Ichiro Oda, and I like to go with the original. And so this is what we're going off of as far as the drawing. Now, when it comes to color, so I have a reference picture from the official anime, and then this pose right here is actually a direct reference to the manga version. So sampling the color from this screenshot of anime will be very accurate. Okay? So these are the 2 references that I'll be using. Now let's take a look. So let me put the color aside. Okay? Now let's take a look at the manga version first. So very small head. Circle for the head. Okay? I'm going to draw it right here so you can see. So very small head. Okay? I'm going to draw in the cross on the circle. It's going to help us locate facial features later on. Some hair flying in the air. Now, huge circle for the body. Okay? So this body is a very big circle. Okay? And then huge arms. Okay? So one arm going out this way, and the other arm goes out this way. And then the legs comes out like that. So there's the first leg, there's the second leg, add form to those sticks, and there we would have Bounce Man Luffy. Okay, so as far as basic shapes goes, I'm gonna add in like the shirts on the sides. Pretty simple, a couple of circles, and but very interesting proportion. This character has a very interesting proportion. I like it. Adding details like the straw hat in the back and whatnot. Okay, so let's take a look at the lighting. So as far as lighting, we don't see much of that on the manga, but we do see it right here in the anime. So the anime lighting is kind of coming from down up. Okay, see? That's why you have all the shadow on the top surfaces and lighter on the bottom. Okay, so that's what we're going to go off of the anime version. Okay, as far as lighting. Now that we have all the information we need to start our drawing, let's rough in the basic shapes and forms, or what I call stick figuring. Okay, so we're going to put in the basic shapes and stick figuring the entire figure. Okay, so now we have the basic shapes in there, and I just drew like stick lines for the legs and arms. Now let's put in like the actual form. Let's thicken up these stick lines, so we see the form of the legs, we see the form of the arms, and roughing in some more of those basic form in there. Okay, so let's do that. So doing the stick figuring and the form figuring is what I consider the most important stage of a character drawing, because it is actually the foundation of everything else that comes after. If you get this right, everything else from this point on will just be a breeze. It will just be filling in the detail. If it weren't for Luffy's extremely unique proportion, like this pose can apply on anybody. But it's because Luffy has such an extreme and exaggerated proportion, like this has, it can't be no one else but Luffy, the Bounceman, Gear 4 Bounceman Luffy. Okay, now, see I draw very lightly at this stage. It is to avoid committing to any lines too soon. When I start to refine the drawing in a second, the more definitive lines that I'm willing to commit to, I will draw heavier. Okay, and the rough sketch will feel like it's fading away as my refined line work emerge from the basic shapes and forms. Now, another tip when drawing circular shapes, see how Luffy has a lot of circles, and I use a lot of circles for the joints as well, is to draw the four corners of the circle first. Kind of anchor it, like place it, locate it where you want it. So through these four corners, you know, okay, that's how I want it. That's how, like, if it's an oval, it's a sphere, you can kind of see. And then you draw the other four corners, and then you connect the lines. And you would have a very decent looking circle, okay? Now, if you're not happy with what you have at this stage, definitely do not go on. Like, stay at this stage and keep modifying the anatomy, the composition, make sure it's good. Remember, we're learning from the official artist right now. Like, we're learning from the reference right now. We're learning its anatomy, learning its proportion, learning its composition, learning how this artist draws, okay? So, once you master his techniques, like, you can go whatever you want, like create your own version, do your own design. But right now, we're referencing this, okay? And make sure that you learn how to draw Gear 4 Luffy correctly, so that you can design your own version later on. Okay, so let's go into refining. You see how the rough sketch feel like it's faded away now that we have a refined pencil drawing? A lot of the details on the inking and the original art, we're going to put it in when we trace the pencil drawing. We're going to put in those extra details. We're not going to pencil it in because a lot of these little details are actually free-handed in. So that's why I didn't spend the time. I just make sure that the overall, like all the overall detail, not like the hatching, that's the term. The hatching doesn't need to be there. We'll do that when we start inking. Okay? So now I want you to learn to draw with short and repetitive strokes. So when you draw a line, you know, still draw very lightly. And see how these rough lines are not very defined, but when you find that definitive line, draw heavier. And you'll see that the real drawing emerge from the rough sketch. Okay? Alright, so the next step is to trace your pencil drawing with a marker and then erase the pencil drawing afterwards. Pay attention, okay, to forms where they overlap. For example, like which form is on top of which ones, okay? And Now, before we begin tracing, if you enjoyed the tutorial so far, remember to hit like and subscribe. It is the biggest appreciation I can get from you guys. Okay, so let's start tracing. You're going to see me trace all my pencil drawing first, and then I'm going to erase it, and then after I erase it, clean it up, I'm going to start hatching it. Okay? Okay, so now I finished tracing the pencil lines, and then next is I'm going to start adding all these hatch on the character. For example, these hatches right here on his scar, make his face look a little bit more dirtier, on the straw hat and so on, okay? And as well as I'm going to mark off the area that I'm going to color in black, okay? Okay, so now I've finished all the hatchings and marked off where I'm going to color in black. Okay, so the next step is actually to grab a thicker black marker and color everything black. So all the area that I marked off that needs to be colored black, I'm now going to color black. Okay. Okay, so now I filled in all the blacks. I'm gonna go over a couple things. First of all, like when you erase the pencil drawing a couple steps before, make sure you hold down on the paper. I messed up a couple areas where I made a couple creases on the paper, which I really regret. But if you're more careful than me, when you erase, make sure you hold down every single corner. Then you can avoid those things from happening. Okay. All right. So now this drawing is very ink heavy, very marker heavy. You know, drawing heavy. So we are going to put color on it. Kind of like what we have here, but nothing too heavy because I don't want it to overpower the line work because it's got so much low details on the line work. It really is meant for it to be like a black and white drawing. But we are going to throw in some color, okay, just give it a little tone. But we're not going to go too crazy with it, okay? We're going to reference the color right here, put it on here, but we're not going to go too crazy, okay? So probably what I'm going to do, I'm not sure if I'm going to add too much shadow in this, mostly just mid-tone and highlight. Maybe a couple areas I would hit with shadow, okay? But we'll see. Alright, so when coloring, try to color in the direction of the form. Let's say you're coloring like a big sphere object, try to follow the direction of the sphere, kind of like how I did the hatching here, okay? So yeah, let's get to color and see how far we can take this. Okay, so I don't want to overpower this with too much color, so I think this is just enough. So you see like a color in like the mid-tone mostly, leaving like the highlighted area a little bit lighter. But I did not add like a layer of shadow or anything, because like I really think like the line work already expressed enough of the dark areas. Okay, so now my last step is to trace the profile lines. Actually, make the profile lines thicker. Now the profile line are like the outermost borderline of each major form. For example, the arm, the head, the face, the body. Now, Luffy's pose is pretty readable. So what this will probably be is just probably like the tracing over like the silhouette, pretty much. Okay, but after the profile lines are drawn in, like the character will pop even more. Okay, so let's do that. Now we're not going to use like a super thick marker for the profile lines. I'm going to use like a medium weight, because again there's so much black on it already. I just want like a little bit of profile lines to pop out the figure. That's it. I don't want to overpower the whole thing with too much black. Okay, so yep, let me show you how. Okay, and there we have it. Gear 4 Bounce Man, Monkey D. Luffy from One Piece. I hope you guys enjoyed this drawing tutorial. Let me know in the comments below what we should draw next, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Now remember, drawing is like playing the piano. You can have the best instructor and the best music sheet in front of you. You might even know the music very well, but it is only through practice that you will get better and become what you want to be. Now the whole point of my video is to provide a side-by-side training for you on a daily basis, like riding a bicycle. I might have to hold your bike for you in the beginning, but just keep drawing and keep practicing, and before you know it, you'll be flying. I'll see you next time.